You are the only thing holding yourself back in sales. What's up, guys? My name's Jay Taylor. I've done multiple six figures in sales, high ticket closing, remote, not remote, home services, you name it. I currently manage a sales team that does $10 million a year, and there's only 5 people, so you can do the math. I made a video just like this about 2 weeks ago about why you are the thing that is actually holding you back in sales and why you can't sell right now. But I just want to go a little bit deeper into it, because through the course of this week, while managing my team and running an entire program where I actually train salespeople to, build up their commissions and build up their skills, I see like a lot of the same language and a lot of the same stuff over and over again. And I don't feel like I went deep enough into this in my previous video. So in my last video, I covered that the objections that you get on your calls, you believe them. And that's why you can't close right now. So when you sit in front of tough decisions, you say, I have to think about it. And when you sit in front of tough decisions, you say, I have to ask my partner. And you keep yourself stuck in the same spot. But I feel like there's a completely different part of it. And the reason that I want to go so deep into the stuff like this is that I see most of the people on the internet who do the same, very similar exact thing that I do, where they do some type of sales training. They're always focusing on like such logistical things where it's like, this is how you do this, and this is how you beat this objection, and this is this framework. And I do the same thing too. So like if you watch my videos, you're going to see me go over frameworks and review sales calls and all this, cool, awesome stuff. But I would say that if you don't understand this stuff right here, like you can have all the magical frameworks in the world, but you'll never be the best version of yourself. You won't. Like that will always be holding you back, the mindset. And the mindset is really important. So what I constantly hear, when I'm managing or I'm running a program, it's like, oh, I don't want to reach out to this person. I don't want to bother them. Or, oh yeah, they told me they'd get back to me, and it's been like 3 weeks and I haven't heard back. I think the beliefs that we carry, that we don't want to bother people or be annoying, are why we're not selling. And I've been there before too, and I know what it feels like. There's definitely a fine line between bothering people. Like you don't want to spam a client, but at the same time, this is where your actual process comes in. So if you're following an actual process to make sure that when you get that deal in the pipeline, all the way to the potential close, you have the customer on track, then you won't ever feel like you're bothering them. So that's the first thing. I think your approach may be a little bit off if you're thinking things like that in your head, like, oh, I don't want to bother this client, or I don't want to spam them or seem desperate. What you're saying is the reason that you sound desperate. It's not that you're reaching out. I almost never, I'd say probably 3 out of 100 times. I'll say 5 just to be fair. 5 out of 100 times, I have someone feel like I'm being desperate. And with those statistics and that math, I'm going to say that that's probably that client and something wrong with the way that that specific person buys. And it's not something that I'm doing that led to that. So I follow a process. So every time that I speak to a client, I'm going to immediately schedule in a follow-up. And then if they don't close on that follow-up, I'm going to schedule in another follow-up. It depends on what you're selling. Some industries, they have longer sales cycles. So like I sold solar and I sold various different home services products. And that is usually a longer sales cycle, where some of the times we see people close right away, same day. And sometimes people don't close for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year. Because, it might be a $50,000, $75,000, $20,000 decision that they do feel like they need some time to think about. But the way that I constantly track down my deals, I never am left to feel like I'm desperate. And I think you guys feel like you're desperate because the approach that you're taking on this. So it's kind of just like you show up, you do your calls, and if it closes, woo, it's awesome, it's lit, you're happy, you're hyped, you're popping bottles. And if it doesn't close, then you're just kind of like, oh yeah, that person didn't want to buy. So So that mindset right there, where you think that everyone's just coming with their card out, ready to swipe, ready to buy from you, and if they don't, then they just never were going to buy, is not true. Because there's someone out there with 90% of those clients that's selling them. And then you come back after trying to follow up with them 3 months too late, and you're like, oh yeah, they went with a competitor, they went with somebody else, but yeah, they suck. And I think if you could tell yourself, like, maybe I suck. And I don't want to be harsh when I say that, but what I'm trying to say is, if you can take the accountability to say, maybe it's me. Maybe it's the way that I showed up today, and maybe it's my approach that's actually holding me back, and my whole belief system and mindset about this sales thing is why I'm not closing a lot of deals. Like, you have to be hungry. If you're not hungry, it's not just going to just magically happen. And you will close some deals like that. You will get those people with their card out, ready to swipe, ready to buy. And I hear, Jeremy Miner, who I took their training, I did the NPQ, I did the inner circle. I hear him say all the time in his ads and in his organic content, like, maybe I just got the bad leads. And he's kind of trolling a little bit, trying to show you guys something. But it's so funny that he does say that, because I think a lot of people really believe that they get the bad leads. You know how many times I have reps come to me and they're like, oh, well, I got all the bad leads on my calendar. Or they just leave, a call, a Zoom call, an appointment, and they're like, that person has no money, they'll never buy. And I'm like, did they say they don't have any money right now? No, they just look like they're broke. They just look like they're broke. Well, I mean, if you walk around with that mindset, you're probably not going to close that many deals, or you're automatically going to close less than someone with the equal skill set as you that's not walking around with that mindset. And I think this is where, like, being a leader comes in. And when I say a leader, I don't mean you have to be some, like, crazy tough Navy SEAL that you guys see on YouTube that's like, get up, da da da. Like, if you can't live up to that, that's fine, because I probably can't live up to that myself. I'm not a Navy SEAL. But I think some of you need to be a leader on your calls to the point where you're actually trying to push the needle. And I got this one from Matt Ryder, where after he pitches the price, he literally asks the person, okay, so so it costs $7,000, to get enrolled, and that's the tuition, and then we would just get you booked into your first call. Like, how would you like to proceed? And from that day that I heard him say that, I went along using that, because it was so awesome. It's like, he's dropping the price. Most people just say, drop the price and be silent. Or some people just drop the price and keep talking, which is even worse. But the how you like to proceed is actually, forcing the client to give you an answer on how they actually want to proceed. So you're going to get the objection, and then you can handle out that objection if possible, but you'll know what the actual objection is. Now, a lot of you are just saying, oh, it's 7,000, and the person's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have to think about that. And you're like, all right, yeah, take your time, think about it. Click. So I think that we all were raised in an environment where we were trained to believe that, salespeople are scammers and they're liars and all these various different things. And then you guys are coming into your calls, your appointments, whatever you sell. Doesn't matter if it's real estate, insurance, B2B, Zoom calls, courses, it doesn't matter. You're coming in with that mindset, so you're avoiding being an actual leader and trying to push the deal over the needle, because you don't want to have people feel some sort of sales resistance with you. But it's all in your head. And I was explaining to a rep the other day, it's like, you set the tone. Like, that's the whole point of a status frame in the beginning of a call, and saying, oh, yeah, the purpose of this call is because I just want to get a better idea and understanding of where you're at right now, just so I can see if I can even help you. And if I am able to help you, I'd pretty much just walk you through what that would look like. But if I'm not, I'm a pretty blunt and honest guy, and I would still point you in the best direction. That right there, when I come on a call and I do that, I'm setting the status. That's why Jeremy Miner called it a status frame. And I think the status is why a lot of you guys are failing. Because with that belief that, oh my gosh, I'm a salesperson and I'm going to get sales resistance and I'm going to get hung up on and people are going to think I'm annoying, then you walk around and you carry that with you, and it actually happens because that's the way that you're carrying yourself. It's like this crazy psychology thing. Like if I'm like, yeah, so do you think that I can, stay here for 20 more minutes for the appointment? Then you're going to get resistance on that, and your worst fear of what you didn't want to happen is actually going to happen. If you're like, hey, can we reconvene for, a follow-up call on Tuesday? Then your worst fear of them saying, oh, no, yeah, I'm pretty busy. You could package it for me in an email. Me and my wife, we don't know if we'd have time on Tuesday, or we're not really sure when we're available, but we'll let you know. That's why you guys are getting that, because it's like a confidence thing. And I know, certain stuff like this is hard to maneuver with the confidence. You might be like, how can I just go from low confidence to confidence? But it's just about doing it and putting in the reps and actually trying to go for it. And as you try to go for it, you will build your confidence. Because when you don't go for it, your brain is not stupid and it knows what you're running from. And you're constantly lowering your confidence every time you don't go for it. So this is where the mindset really comes in. And if you can be a leader, if you can really actually try to push people over that edge, if you can stop getting in your own head and stop being nervous about being a salesman, like if you're going to walk around nervous that you're a salesman, then it's probably best for you to just not be in sales, because that's just not going to work very well. And you see people doing all types of high commissions, and you're like, I want their script. I want their objection handling framework, or I want to say what he said, or I want to get trained by him. And in a sense, it's the right idea. It's the right idea, but it's really the mindset and the mind frame. And it is something that's hard to get without a mentor, I will be honest. And that's why you always hear me suggest on my channel all the time, in any content that I post, you see me say, if you don't have a mentor in sales right now, even if you don't want to, join my mentorship or click through the link and book a call with me, go out and get a mentor. I'm always still going to suggest that. And what it did for me more than anything is the actual mindset of how to be a winner in sales and business and any mentorship I signed up for. It taught me the mindset more than anything else. And I was able to achieve that from being in that mentorship. So the frameworks and the logistics and how to run the ads and how to get on the sales calls and how to pitch and objection handle and all that stuff has been like nearly priceless. So I'm not going to, undermine the value of it, but the mindset that it gave me was really priceless. And that's very valuable from, being in a mentorship. So, I will say, guys, that mindset is probably the most important thing. And if you guys can stop telling yourself things like, oh, this person probably doesn't want me to follow up, or, oh, this person probably won't go with it because it's too high. If you're showing that you feel like that number scares you and it's too high on the paper, when you're pitching your actual client, that is going to reflect and you're actually going to scare them away. And you're going to you do the opposite of what you actually want to do. So if you can stop telling yourself things that you don't know the answer to right now, but you think you do, be a leader on your calls, constantly put in the reps, constantly follow up. Most closers I know that are doing multiple six figures, half their deals are found in the follow-up. Not the ones that just get back to you when they're ready to buy with their card. Not those. Because don't say, yeah, I've just been following up for 6 months and he came and he closed. Like, no, that's not what happened. The people that you actually need to follow up with, that you're scared to follow up with because they didn't tell you yes in the beginning, those are the people that are going to be probably half of your commissions if you are a very good or great high ticket closer. So I think, I covered most of the ideas that I wanted to cover in this video. If you guys want some extra help with closing and with sales, click the link below and book in a call with my team and see if you qualify to get some extra help. In the meantime, also click the link below that and join my free school group, and I'll see you guys there. Have a good one.